So I'm sure many of you saw what I did in episode 3, which was completing the terraforming on my starter base. Now, obviously, if you keep a close eye, you'll notice that this terraforming is slightly different to what you see on the Forgecraft server, and that's because I'm not on the Forgecraft server in today's video. Episode 4 is on the way, but at the moment I have to do other things. So, as you'll see, this is my tester world download. So obviously, there's not everything on the server currently. For example, it, by the way, is terraforming or my honey farm. However, this is what I use to plan out my terraforming. So obviously there are some minor changes, but the overall theme is the same. So in today's video, I've come up with a few ways on how how one could go about doing some terraforming, because I've looked on YouTube and there's no real confirmed guide on how to do terraforming, because understandably you can't really tutorialize doing some terraforming because it changes individually. So in today's video, I'm going to give you a few tips and tricks on how to create a good terraforming project. So my first point is going to be to find your own style. Only take inspiration if needed. Now, actually, if you're new to terraforming, I would expect you to at least do some research, look at some projects other people have done, but remember to only take maybe some inspiration or things that you really like from it. Don't try and copy. If you try and copy people's work, not just will you seem very scummy and also just not original, but also it just won't work. If you try and take someone's terraforming and put it in your own world, it's going to be physically impossible because everyone's world is different. Therefore, you can't copy someone's work. For example, a house you can copy because you just need to find the land, or maybe kind of make the land ready to be built on. Whereas terraforming really does depend on the natural landscape around you. If you try and copy, it won't work well, and I just don't think you'll find as much enjoyment out of it. Keep it reasonable. Don't do too much, meaning don't try and build some humongous mountain. Obviously, this will depend on who you are and how much you play, but if you can only play 1 or 2 hours a day, don't try and build some massive mountain, because it'll take you weeks, maybe even months, depending on how big or how detailed it is. And I just think that sometimes it's more enjoyable to scale it down a little and make it just fit the way you play, what your build's looking like, and how long you can play. Because at the end of the day, especially considering if you're the start of your world or your server and you've only got iron tools, this is not going to be realistic. Something like this, or something, this is a relatively small terraforming project, to be honest. There are some massive projects, for example, BWO. He has done a massive massive mountain, actually, not a hill, massive mountain. Obviously, he's not done it 3D, but even that part is massive. It's taken him so long. So don't try and do something like that. Maybe scale it down to something like this, where you can actually fit it in your world, and also so you're not spending like millions of hours. Don't add too much detail. If you add way too much detail to your builds, not just will it be just a waste of your time, because no one will be able to focus on what individual parts without examining it for loads of time, but also sometimes it's just too much for your eyes to comprehend. For example, the reason I did this path here was not just because I'm a lazy person and couldn't be bothered doing a path like that, but also because it just stood out from the actual terraforming. I wanted this terraforming to be the main show here. I didn't want people to be like, oh, nice path. I was like, it's just a path at the end of the day. Nothing too detailed, but also it's not boring. It's not just like having a wood path or something. It just it fits in with this. It just complements it. It's kind of it's like colours. It's like if you're doing art or something, have complementing colours like red and orange or something. Don't be afraid to go random, okay? Like if you're doing terraforming, you're doing some sort of hill landscaping, you can't do it symmetrical. You can't build a box, and you can't build you just can't build a box. If you try and build a box, it will look horrible. Please do not build a box whilst terraforming. It won't work, and I will honestly want to hack into your account and blow whatever you built. I don't care how long it took you to build that, it's getting deleted. Make sure to keep it, whether you're going for a more natural build like Imp, by the way, or whether you're going for something like this, something more, I guess, natural, more detailed, something that you wouldn't see in Minecraft or really in real life, at all. So, for example, this, I've kept it really detailed with like the stone, the cobblestone, the coarse dirt, the gravel, the grass, all of that kind of complements itself, and just, it's detailed, but it's not too much. And not just that, if this was all, for example, over here, if let's say I did do it like this, it's not actually like this, but if I did just do it, if this entire thing was just like rows of stone, there's no coarse dirt, there was no, there's no cobblestone, there was no leaves, it was just flat like that, it would look horrible, and I'd probably contemplate just deleting Minecraft and never touching the game again. You'll notice that I'm in creative mode, or in fact maybe spectate. So make sure to plan. This is obviously a rough sketch, and obviously it looked different in the actual practice of it. But the actual design, structure, style, all of that, and the block palette, for example, all stayed the same. Obviously you can't really copy terraforming. It would take way too much time, and I couldn't really time lapse it, to be honest. So make sure to plan. This counts at any build you do. Anything you do in Minecraft, whether it's a redstone contraption, a farm, a house, or terraforming in this case, plan it. Because the worst thing to do in survival is to build a massive structure, whether it's terraforming, a house, or a redstone contraption. Maybe a redstone contraption may be the most painful, depending on the actual contraption itself. But, if you build something which will take you so much time in survival, and then it's not good or it's not right, it doesn't work properly, and you're going to take it down. Not just is it such a waste of time, but it's actually heartbreaking for you. So I'm recommending you this. Don't put yourself through the stress of messing up, and just plan it beforehand. Because if you mess up in a testing world, it's a testing world. It's not your. It's like a rough book, So make sure to plan out your creations beforehand. Use complementing block palettes. Now, although I did briefly bring it up in the few points ago, things like coarse dirt and grass, they kind of complement each other. They're both the same theme of block, and they kind of add a bit. They just, for example, coarse dirt just adds a bit more detail to the area, alongside stone and cobblestone, or actually stone and gravel, leaves and grass, anything like that. It kind of just complements it. It's like an art, for example, colouring things in, use complementing colours like red and yellow or something like that. I'm not an artist, don't quote me on that. But don't just do grass and stone with maybe a bit of water. It will look horrible, trust me. It won't look horrible. Maybe let's say you use this like template, maybe not, but still it will look. It just won't look as best it could do. The amount of detailing that goes into things like this, it really does add that extra finesse to your work. So just make sure to complement your blocks. Make sure it is kind of detailing, but it also kind of isn't. Let there be light. In a terraforming project, if you don't, or it's actually any project for that matter, if you don't light it up, not just will you not be able to see it at night, it won't. It will also spawn in loads of mobs. Now, obviously, mobs, it's an obvious reason, light it up. But when I say light it up, I don't mean get a load of torches and just go. Yeah, it's lit up now. Yay! See. Yes, it's lit up, but things like torches look horrible. And I mean horrible in the largest sense. Horrible. I can spell it out for you. It's horrible, trust me. Things like this, obviously, with shaders, with Optifine shaders, you can see through the leaves. But in normal vanilla textures, which I'm sure most players have, you won't actually be able to see through the leaves. And also, if you just put a load of leaves down, you won't see it. Lighting up will not just stand your build out in the area, but also just prevent mobs from spawning and keeping creepers away. Because imagine a creeper, let's say there's like 5 creepers here, I come down and fight them, although they won't kill me, bang, 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 and I've got no left wing over here. Would not be very good, would it? Make sure it fits. If you're gonna have any project, make sure it fits. If I built some sort of like really modern house with some sort of Hollywood hills, it would look horrible because at the end of the day, I would say spruce biomes, tiger biomes are more kind of associated with things like lumberjacks or imperfect builds. For example, my house, it's like it's not modern, but it's not ancient, it's not old, it's not, but with terraforming, I think it suits the area perfectly, because if I was to go build this in a desert, I do think it would look shocking, because there's no grass, there's no stone, there's no water, and there's no leaves in the desert. So keep in mind when you're building your project that the style actually fits with the area that you're building it in, because you go into a desert and you whip out a massive mountain, it just won't look normal. So keep that in mind when doing it. I think it's probably the most important one, and probably something most people don't actually need to think about because they're not stupid. I did bring this up, but never copy. And when I say never copy, I mean don't just look at someone's terraforming and be like, oh, that's nice, copy and paste it into your world. Like, when I say copy and paste it, not actually, but don't copy it block for block. Because, like I said earlier, you can take inspiration, and it is, good to take inspiration, because without inspiration, your builds might be terrible, because you won't know what to do. But if you copy it block for block, it won't be the best, in my opinion. It will look, not just will you not be original, and people seeing it will just be like, that's just, you're not original, mate, that you don't deserve credit for that. But also, it often won't fit in your world, because if I was to take some sort of desert, like hill, mountain, cliff thing and shove it there, it would not look right at all, and it would look terrible. So keep that in mind when doing it. Find your own style and take inspiration, like I said in the first point, but do not copy. Copying will not do you any good. It's like copying in a test. Fine, you get 100% off cheating, but that's not what you got. Therefore, you can't take credit for doing well in the exam if you cheated on it. So my last point, although maybe not counts as a tip or trick for doing terraforming itself, I think it's important to share your content with your friends, your family, your followers, your fans, wherever it may be, because sometimes if you're building and spending so many hours on a massive build, you'll look at it and be like, oh, that's so cool, I'm so happy I did that, but then you'll look back at it maybe a day or two later and be like, oh, what do I do now? And a good way to keep yourself motivated with Minecraft is to share what you do, because going in on your local Reddit page, sharing it on your Instagram, sending it to your friends on like WhatsApp or something, it's, you can get good reactions, maybe some ways to improve in the future, and it's actually overall just a lot better than just building it for yourself. Anyway, now that I've given you all the tips and tricks in order to do some terraforming itself, I think it's time for me to put it into practice and show you what you can do if you follow the guide in my guide that I've just given you. So let me go find a space in the testing world, and I will do a terraforming project there. So I think I found the area that I'm going to use for this terraforming little project here. It's a small example. It's obviously not going to be as good as my one in the Forge server, but hopefully it'll give you an accurate representation of what you could do if you followed the guide I just gave you, and also will give you a bit more entertainment from the channel this week. Anyway, I think without further ado, it's time to get into that and do the terraforming. Well, I hope you guys did enjoy that time lapse. Now, hopefully that did give you the right tools in mind for the future if you are going to do any terraforming projects. However, before I end this video, I'd like to bring to your attention the mysterious mystery of my subscribers going up. Now, obviously, it hit 105 subscribers within about a day, which was really shocking to me, and I was really suspicious. Obviously, I brought it up in episode 4, which I will bring it up in episode 4 when you see it. However, obviously, it's gone down now, and I'm not sure when it will drop. Now, whether this has been the actions of a person or somehow I've gone up and then gone down in subs, it's really mysterious to me. If I'm being honest, it doesn't actually upset me because my views haven't changed really. Although actually they've gone up from it, and to be honest, I'd much rather reach 100 subs in more kind of genuinely and just definitely under no suspicion. Although I now know what it will be like to have 100 subs, I'm sure I'll see you there within a few months and we can celebrate then properly. Anyway, I hope you guys did enjoy this video and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye for now.